Welcome to All About Perspective. What do you think? Who's to blame for all this crap that we have to deal regarding new games today? Remember games we played in mid-90s. Developers actually cared about their releases, cared about players. There were so many games that we could play for weeks and even months. I remember games like King's Bounty, Warlord, Dune, Civilization, Command & Conquer, Warcraft, XCOM. I could play these games for weeks. Several years ago I played new XCOM. Started on Friday and finished on Monday. 3 days of gameplay for full price. This is what we get now, and when I see advertisement that campaign gameplay length is 10-15 hours long, I can only scratch my head. And this time is reduced more and more in favor of releasing DLCs. Now many games are released looking more like a tech demo rather than a playable game and never surpass early alpha stage. That looks more and more like pure money grabbing, filled with bugs and glitches, where we can feel absence of any kind of testing and balancing every moment of our gameplay. That's if we even manage to run the game at all. And then, even if the game is in satisfying condition, we have these season passes and DLCs that do nothing except make that game complete. Of course for extra price. Basically we buy a small part of the game and then we have to pay to receive full experience. Imagine something like this 20 years ago. So what has changed and who's to blame for all of that? Let's take a look at top 10 list of highest earning game publishers. Many will say that it's publisher to blame, or developer. Others will sing songs about shareholders or human greed that significantly increased during past decade and hit hard most developers. Maybe even blame programmers who choose to work on serious projects and gaming industry is left behind. But what is happening in reality? Developers used to make fun games that they can play themselves. Now it's all about business. Only indie developers are making games for themselves. All big publishers care is income. But business can be different. I don't want to call names, as we all know them. Just take a look at Electronic Arts profits. They earned more than $5 billion in 2018. More than in any previous year, and earnings in last 3 years are increasing. Is it their fault that gamers buy their product? Is it? Can you blame someone who sells crap just because there are so many willing to buy this crap? Remember that if there is demand, there will always be supply. And here we go. While we gamers are buying crap and giving our money to companies that don't respect us and even spit on us, then we and only we gamers are to blame for deep shit that we are in. Imagine what would happen if all gamers would unite. I know I'm naive and this is pure utopia, but still, nobody would buy release of crappy game until they fix their game. Publishers and developers wouldn't be able to get any money out of us until their game is playable and completed. And next time they would work harder, deliver from day one, instead of dumping games and then trying to fix them. No, they do not care. They can release half-baked game every year and we will buy those games and pay for that. We will have bad experience, we'll be annoyed, but nothing ever will change. Unless we break this cycle, where we pay in advance for a product that might or might not turn out to be an enjoyable game. What's even worse, we never learn from our mistakes. Next time they release a new product, we give them our money again and hope that they have changed. And this time they will not disappoint us. But why would they do that? I mean, they already found a nice way to free us from our money. And the moment we pay for their game, we are dead to them. They don't care about us at all. From a business perspective, it doesn't make sense to stop earning money if there are so many sheep to shear. They will never stop, and other companies will just take their business as an example, and we will have what we have at even bigger scope. Do we deserve that? No. Can we change that? No, I don't believe so. I don't believe that gamers can stop spending money on crap, mostly because there are no alternatives, sadly. and we want to play even a crappy game if alternative is no game at all. But if we would come together and stop buying crap, we could bring down any developer or publisher and force them to completely change their strategy. We all understand majority of game studios care more about profit than their reputation, and we are the ones to blame because we who buy their games are supporting them, and nobody else will ever change that. Only if we are all united as one, only then we can earn their respect. Or do you think any big publisher with multi-billion profit cares about any of us? You see all numbers, our beloved Ubisoft 2 billion, Electronic Arts 5.2, Blizzard 7.2. And obviously first three places are taken by companies that actually produce consoles: Sony, Microsoft and Nintendo. Any more questions why we are nothing to them, even while we are the ones who pay for their expenses? What is your perspective on who's to blame for game industry screw-ups that we have now on a regular basis actually? And what do you think? Can this cycle be even broken? Or this will be how in future all gaming companies will conduct their business? Sell us half-baked games and forget about us because our money is in their pockets.